morning, Hello? There we are. Good morning, everybody. It's a great day in Lakeside. It's always a great day in Lakeside, no matter what the weather. I'm a little loud, I think, Mike, maybe? No? 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 EJ says I'm spot on, so okay, I'll leave the podium where it is. I was successful in the Wordle this morning, so life is good. Meeting is called to order at 10:05, and I'd like to invite our good friend Larry Kisabeth to come forward with the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Fall is in the air. The days are getting shorter. The air, at least in the evening, is getting crisper. The leaves are falling. Our summer residents are pulling the shades on their cottages and closing up the cottages for the winter. Fall is certainly in the air. The winter months are to follow. In John 12:24, we are reminded, "Very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, if it's planted, it produces many seeds." The Lakeside Chautauqua's 152nd year has ended, but plans are underway for the 153rd season. During the winter, the seed is planted to produce the many seeds, the plants, the programs, the activities of the coming season. While staff members are planting the seed for the 153rd Chautauqua season, other members of our staff are winterizing buildings. Activities are happening on the grounds during the off-season, with road revitalization, remodeling, and new construction happening throughout the grounds. The pace changes, but the mission continues. Fall is upon us. Winter is just around the corner. As we prepare for the winter, Natalie Sleeth's lyrics make known, "In the cold and snow of winter, there's a spring that waits to be, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see." We await during the winter, looking forward to the spring to reveal what has been planted. God be with us, and the people say, Amen.
Thank you, Larry. He's walking in the opposite direction now with cookies. So if okay. At this point, I'd like to introduce the members of the Executive Committee of LPOA. We have some excused absences today. Just letting you know, Ross Brown, you'll see him on TV today. He's on the chain gang for the Ohio State University Minnesota game. So that's where he is. Who else? Oh, Connie Roop, our secretary, is in Germany competing in the International Shuffleboard Competition. I believe it just ended yesterday. So wish her well when she comes back. The LPOA Shuffleboard weekly activity happens on Tuesday at 10 o'clock and also on Saturdays at 1. Elizabeth Irwin had an unexpected situation where her husband had to rush out of town, and she's at home with the children in Columbus, so she is unable to attend today. Those of us in attendance, we had a quorum for our 8:30 meeting this morning, which is always wonderful. And we have Brett Johnson. Please stand, say hello. He's our LPOA rep. He's our trustee rep. Ron Yonke is our trustee. Carolyn Fleischer is a trustee. Carol Robertson is our sergeant at arms. Sorry. And also, Tom Ramsdell was at our 8:30 a.m. meeting. He is now on his way to Michigan for a funeral. So he was able to be with us earlier this morning and help us to prepare the financial reporting. We also have an announcement to make about the results of our election in August. As you know, the LPOA elected 4 new members of the Executive Committee. Their terms will begin on April 1st, 2026. So we have here with us this morning Jerry Leibarger. Please stand. On April 1st, she will become the LPOA secretary. Karen Mader was elected to be the LPOA treasurer, and her term will also begin on April 1st, 2026. Beth Jennings Sibring was elected as trustee, and her term will begin on April 1st, 2026. And Mike Eggers is elected to represent LPOA on the Lakeside Association Board, and his term will begin, let me think, April 1st, 2026. After that election, you can go to the next slide, please. There we go. The group of four of those folks, Jerry, Karen, Beth, and Mike, put together a concept of LPOA and Lakeside Association governance, and they called it the Lakeside Governance Concept. This has not been talked about with that group by the LPOA Executive Committee. It was brought to us after the election, and the Executive Committee had a chance to verify its validity and find out who the authors were at our September Executive Committee meeting. In the spirit of transparency, I want you to know that this document exists, and it will be discussed over the course of the winter with the authors. And we will attach a copy of this governance model to the minutes, so you'll be able to take a look and study it. If you have any comments, please fill out feedback forms or contact somebody on the Executive Committee to help advise the Executive Committee how to move forward. So the next thing we have is, before I go forward, that reminds me, we have a pretty full agenda today. There's lots of information. It is a business meeting. And so please hold all your comments till the end of the meeting. We will have the comments for what we call the comments for the good of the community at the end of the meeting. That's the point where the business portion of the meeting ends and the comment portion begins. And please, we encourage you to stay, or if you would rather enjoy the sunny day, you're free to exit then too. So just so you know. What? Sunny day? The sunny, okay. So now we have with us this morning the Secretary of the Lakeside Heritage Society, Sally DePiro, who's going to come up early on in our meeting to give us an update on the status of the Heritage Society's Capital Fund Drive. Sally?
So when I realized that everybody who does this presentation on our board, we're going to be away for the weekend, and it was me who had to say something compelling, I really sat down and put some thought to it. So I'm going to tell you this little story that made such an impression on me recently. My siblings and I were in Germany, sitting on the top of a riverboat, and watching that big blood red moon. It was amazing. And my younger brother, who lived in Washington, D.C. for a while, said, "Did I ever tell you that when I was in the Aerospace Museum, I saw Dad's picture?" What? We never knew what our father did because it was top secret. He was an aerospace engineer before there was space flight. And so there's his picture standing with a group of people. And my brother said he reached through history to tell me what he did and who he was. I thought that was amazing. I want to see it myself. But anyway, we have the capacity to do that as Lakesiders with this renovation in our Heritage Hall Museum. And I hope you will join in that effort by joining us in this final push with our capital campaign. We have set that goal at $450,000. We are just so close. And if you came in and saw the beautiful picture in the front, it shows how the 4 pillars are being represented in the museum. You've seen the outside things happening, windows being taken care of, the brick going up on the fireplace, landscaping, and so forth. But inside, there's a lot of things happening, and that's what you see in this photograph. The LHS is its own separate nonprofit. It's not connected to Lakeside, but it benefits Lakeside in so many ways. You saw us during the 100th 150th anniversary of Lakeside in the photographs and the research that was done. You see, Mary Ann Kelmer had this great idea to do a cottage history project, which is ongoing. And so you can participate in that too. And we do walking tours, but the biggest project of all is this museum. And the theme is keeping history alive. So you can see that. So first of all, I hope you know where the Heritage Museum is. It's located across the street from the Fountain Inn in one of the oldest buildings in Lakeside. It's 150 years old. To our amazement, there is a little bit of foundation deterioration. A lot of things that have happened to it have been just a little bit that needed help, but still, it all costs money. And now there's a lot of movement indoors. The guys are pulling off wallpaper, and I think they pulled the ceiling tiles down. We're using, original, beautiful, natural materials whenever possible. And I want you to know what will happen inside. If you ever went inside, how did we sepia tone the inside of an entire building? I don't know. But as things deteriorate, they kind of turn brown. And when we renovate it, it's going to be colorful. It'll be alive looking. And you'll have interactive displays. The displays that we have now, those cases aren't going to waste. Some of them will be moved to, you'll see them around Lakeside as pop-up displays. They're being shared with other museums who are happy to receive them, so nothing's going to waste. Let me think what else you might want to know. So I think that's what you would be interested in. Like I said, we're very close to our goal. We're pushing for those last few dollars. If you can join us in by donating, that would be wonderful to reach into your pockets. The kids are really involved. If you've ever volunteered there or been through it, you'll see lots of children. The teenagers who've grown up there still enjoy coming back. I've met lots of grandparents there because they're coming with the kids. So if you haven't been there next spring, please come in and see us. Imagine what we are doing with this project. It's reaching into Lakeside's future and touching the hearts and minds of our future generations. Let's do our best to keep them engaged by completing this project with the museum renovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. It's so encouraging to hear that you're at the end, you're almost there with your campaign. The next item on the agenda is the Lakeside Report, and I'd like to welcome Charles Allen.
Good morning, everyone. Such a beautiful, hey, Holly, how are you? Holly's making faces at me in the back. Just a few updates. We won't get into too much, but I want to just say, one, thank you all for a wonderful season and your grace getting through the season. I have Fred here with us today, and if he'll share a short update on the streets project and how things are going with that. And I have our newest superstar to the team, Dennis, which I'm glad that he is getting to know many of you, and he will share in or talk about some of the projects that we're working through for this fall and winter to make sure that things are closed correctly, but also ready to open for the season. And so I'm thankful for his leadership because he's already thinking about opening day, and he's driving our teams to prepare for that. And so we have those projects going on, but October 23rd, we'll be sharing with you all through a virtual session, which is our season end financial forum. We added this financial forum to share with our community how we did during the season, some course corrections if needed, if they are needed. But we'll also be giving you a update on some of the analysis that came out of the questions that from the board sessions, from the breakout sessions. So we'll be working through those. Some of the questions as it relates to shorter season versus longer season, head count, et cetera. So we'll be working through all those on October 23rd. So hopefully that you can join us. If you cannot join us, that session will be also recorded and placed on our website as well. At this time, we'll have Fred come and walk us through the Streets project, and then we'll talk about some off-season projects as well.
At long last. I was just sitting in the chair there. This group began meeting in December of '22. And we've been working our way through this. And finally, come Thursday is the date that the contractor has told us that he will begin milling our streets in phase 1. What that means, I was speaking to a couple people. It's going to be a lot of mess. It's going to be some inconvenience, but we're going to make progress, and it's going to happen very rapidly. So beginning Thursday, the milling will start on 2nd Street. The contractor is going to do the east-west streets first. So he's going to do 2nd, 4th, 6th, leaving 3rd and 5th to come back the next round. So anybody who needs access to your property or wants to be out of the way, you can move your vehicles, which could be your cars, your trucks, or your golf carts, to the next street over. Then they will come back and do 3rd and 5th, and then they will come and start working on Poplar and work their way every other street. So the north-south streets are planned to take 3 days of milling. The east-west are 3 days, and the north-south are 3 days. So for 6 calendar days, and at this point there's no weekend work planned, so we won't be exactly interfering with the Lighthouse Festival, but there will be we'll be in construction zones. So then they will come back after that work is all done, and then Oak is, I forgot the 100 block of Oak, will be the last portion of that 6 days of work. And what we learned doing a little bit of work on Oak that I really want to communicate to anybody who lives in the 100 block of those streets. You're going to be a little bit more inconvenienced than everybody else because you only have one way in and out. Other people have an intersection at each side. So you need to really, if there's any chance that you want to be getting out of your property, you need to be moving your vehicles either early morning or the night before. Right now, the contractor's scheduled to start work at 8 a.m., which is our normal lakeside work hours. So they may be a little bit early. They're chomping at the bit to get there. So, I would caution you to be out early or the night before. So that will be the milling. Directly behind that, they will come and do full depth repair, which is digging up and going another 9 inches, that's more than 9, another 9 inches down to the subgrade and replacing that. Once that's done, they'll come and pave the intermediate course, and then they'll pave the surface course. Essentially, we're going to try and maintain that every other street pattern. I've been working with Gretchen Hopefully you've signed up to receive text and email notices. We'll be working with the contractor, and so when he shows up on Thursday, toward mid-afternoon on Thursday, we'll get a report when what he's going to be doing on Friday, and we'll blast that out so that we'll try and keep you as informed on a day-by-day basis as we can. It's going to be exciting, but it's going to be a mess, and I really caution you to be prepared for that, because there's going to be dump trucks in here, going to be going in and out, hauling all of those millings out. Once they start paving, they're going to be doing the same thing, trucks bringing in asphalt and the paver machine there. So it'll be exciting to get done, and we just have to put up with the inconvenience right now. The schedule for the pavement portion is for 1 month. They will come back after the final surface course is done in November, and they'll start raising and adjusting manhole lids, water valves to meet the new pavement surface. So that's the plan today. We are meeting with the contractor on Tuesday to again walk all the streets and make sure they're prepared for what's out there, and we'll answer any questions ahead of time. And again, we do have a full-time inspector who's here observing things, keeping track of quantities, making sure they're doing things according to the plans. And they'll be here. I will be here too, but I won't be here full-time, but I'll definitely be here Thursday morning to kick off the excitement. So that is where we're going, and we appreciate your support. And again, the best way to get a hold of me is at my email, fred@lakesideohio.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Are we blessed with Fred or not? Let's give him another round of applause. I mean, I had told Charles I wasn't sure I'd be here today, but I am here, so he's going to let me go forward with items of projects that we have going on right now. But first, before I get into that, I'd like to thank everyone here. I don't think everybody's here that was here the first time I met you in July, but if those are watching online, I appreciate you too. It has been a joy to be here now for 3 full months. Seems like I've been here longer. I've worked with a lot of you, and that's a good thing. I've worked with a lot of you individually. I've worked with a lot of committees too, and just getting that feeling like I belong from everybody, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. So what's going on here? We had talked about the streets. Let's get the lakefront walkway out of the way. I kind of stepped on my own toes on that one. We were looking at replacing the lakeside walkway with new pavement, and in the process of that, modern technology, modern equipment, they prefer to use a wider paver. It's actually less expensive and more efficient to use that. But in our bylaws, I realize we have a minimum or a maximum of 5 foot, and we're going to maintain that maximum 5 foot. So we're meeting back with the contractor to discuss how we're going to make that happen. So it'll be replaced as is where is, but there is no, it was paved over dirt. I don't know if you knew that or not. We took core samples before we got the quote, and we realized there's no surface underneath it. So that will be replaced as they go. So we will hit some irrigation. I guarantee you that. We'll fix it as we go. But I appreciate everybody's understanding as we work through that project. Those of you that have been around the lakeshore, you've seen the pavilion project underway. We're repainting what's existing, and any of the rotted material that's down there is being replaced with material right now. And I am very grateful for our maintenance team. They're actually doing that work, the replacement of those boards. So if you see the maintenance crew walking around, give them a thank you for that. That's one less thing that we have to contract out. Also down, I don't remember what that's called, but the waterfront area in front of the hotel, the west area, there's no access sidewalk to that from the walking path, so that will be happening here and most likely in the spring for that. Those of you that have been working with Doug Adams, again, thank you, Doug, for your service on the many items that I've been working on. I appreciate your help with that. The hotel lobby renovation that's, or facelift, if you want to call it that, is underway with, we're getting more and closer to that. That will be happening here this fall. The restroom remodel that was started last fall will be finished this fall, if not early spring. They will have new partitions, some new appliances in there, and also hand towels and paper towel dispensers and soap dispensers that are all the same, and they all fit, and they will not be empty, right? Thank you. That's been a big project of mine. Restrooms have been an issue, and we're going to handle it. And I appreciate everyone's help, Eugene and all of your folks' help there with this project. The campground expansion to the west has had a few bumps in the road getting us to the bidding. I think we are very close. If this, like next week, I'm pretty sure we'll be putting that out to bid. That campground expansion will move, help me out, Fred, 19 or 17 spots, somewhere in there, extra spots over there. And in addition to that, the trash transfer station, and we'll be working with all of you on how that's going to change and how that's going to affect all of us with how we're going to be dropping off or using that area in the future. That has not been settled yet. We have a couple of ideas, and we're working through those challenges. It will be a challenge over there. There's a lot of things that are moving around that area, and to make it a really nice trash and recycling drop-off like you'd see at other municipalities, we're kind of limited on the space there. So we're really trying to work hard to make it very usable, very friendly and clean. One thing that I'm really happy about is we've been working on communication with the community on ways to submit what we call work order or work ticket, in addition to putting things into a standard process for routine maintenance and things that have to do with opening and closing that are in people's minds maybe in the past, but now will be in a software system that will generate automatic work orders and things to get things done on a regular basis as we would expect them to be done. That system, we just sealed that last week. We're kicking it off this week. There's a 45-day implementation period. So over the wintertime, we will be ready for work orders and ways for people to submit concerns rather than just going to the office and filling out a piece of paper and hoping that we see something. So there will be communication if you sign up for an, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because it may not be as simple as I'm talking, but and was there a time limit on me? Okay. I like to talk, folks. But I like to talk about this because I'm passionate about it and I'm excited and I'm really hoping to get these things through. But on the software program, we'll be getting those things on a routine basis, and things that should be done will be done. I'm happy to announce, too, that we've secured 2 custodial full-time employees. They will get our grounds and our trash and things cleaned up the way they should be. We'll be, we've also retained Fred Keller, who was unable to be here for this meeting today. But Fred is also going to be helping with managing that side of the business. Somebody will actually have an assignment for that piece. So if you don't have, you inspect what you expect. So if you don't have anybody inspecting this, we're not going to get where we need to be. So Fred's going to handle that. We have started with shampooing and cleaning, resurrecting equipment that has been idle for many years, I think. Up at Trackett Hall, we have a scrubber that was used for the first time a couple months ago, or weeks ago, by these folks. They just started September 1st, so. We have carpet extraction equipment that has been idle that's gonna get started to use. So those are the things when I'm talking about the software system, those items will be in there on a routine basis. Cherry Park, the tree that fell on the boat, attraction will be fixed. The boat will be fixed. And we're also looking at some other improvements in that park, and we'll give you more information about that as those develop. At the laundromat, we're looking at replacing some HVAC equipment. I have a long list here, sorry. Second Street's getting a facelift, new gates, the chain link fence is gonna go away down there. It'll look a lot nicer. Tennis buildings have been completed. Thank you for your support with that. Those of you that have supported that tennis project with donations, that I think that those buildings look 100% better. Again, the rotted material that was down there or up there was replaced by our maintenance team. So as we come into those things and we repair things, we're repairing things for the future. Sometime this spring, probably, the dock concrete has some repair that needs to be made. Again, 2 more projects that Doug and Eugene and Dan Dolman and some other, I'm going to forget everybody, you know, who's involved, but the Hoover exterior, Eugene's really stepped in there and is getting us the right direction to get us the right brick, the right, you know, making it perfect. So really appreciate his assistance with that. But really, again, I'd like to just thank everybody for their patience for the first 3 months. I also want to thank administration for giving the grace for me to be here, and I really appreciate being here. It's where I need to be. Thank you.
So as you see, there's a lot going on, a lot of projects from deferred maintenance that we are getting on top of, and so we appreciate your patience within that, but also Dennis's leadership as we go forward. All of these things take a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of resources. And a lot of resources that we are striving to be better stewards over, which you'll hear more about in our financial forum. So I hope you all tune in for that October 23rd. The projects that we are getting done, it is all through generosity. You know, we have our gate fees, we have our assessments. Our assessments are very limited to what they take care of. And so a couple of things I want to mention to you. We talk about Cherry Park. We had a generous donor step up to make sure that park gets restored back to the natural playground. But we also have an opportunity ahead of us that we are currently investigating and working on that will expand that play area and so there's a $75,000 matching grant that we're looking into now that will help us provide a play area for those with special needs, and that will be expanded into the park once it goes through all the processes. And so that grant is currently being written, and we have one family that is going to help support that matching grant, and so we'll get more material out to you as well, so that that way, if you want to help and contribute towards that, I think it would be a wonderful thing. This past summer, a young lady contacted me and said, you know, I was at Lakeside, we had a wonderful time, but I have 2 special need grandchildren, and it was hard to find something for them to do. And So we want to come back and we want to enjoy it, but she just wasn't complaining, just saying, hey, if there's an opportunity to put in areas, and these play areas go well beyond small children, but they're also go into adults who still have special needs, who can't do various things. And so I think this is something that we started looking into with with sensory control, various things. And so this is something that I believe as a community we need to invest in and do. So you'll get more information about that coming up here in the next couple weeks. The other aspect I want to just encourage you to do on our website is our annual report. Our 990s are there, all the financials are there, but also the annual report is there. You'll see all the wonderful things that happened last year within that, and so I encourage you to look at that. But none of those things and none of these things that Dennis is talking about would be possible without your generosity into the Impact Fund. Impact Fund, some people will say, oh, they described it as a gap filler when you didn't make enough money. That's not true. We're a nonprofit. And so when you look at the value base of your gate passes would be much higher without the Impact Fund. A lot of other activities would have to be individualized or a la carte without that Impact Fund. And so all the wonderful programs that John put on, which John had some amazing programs this year. Did he not? Can we just give it up for John, man? And so, but all of those, between religious life, recreation, education, and arts and entertainment are made possible through your generosity. And so I encourage you to consider your gift also into our Impact Fund. Thank you. Keep us in prayer. And we, as always, appreciate the partnership of LPOA, the leadership of LPOA, Marianne, and all those that have worked with us. We thank you very, very much for being there for us and helping us through some challenging seasons, but also making sure that Lakeside keeps going for another 152 years. Thank you.
Wow, those are lists and a half. Thank you, Dennis. My husband will thank you that is not a honeydew list. That's an amazing list. And Fred, where are you, Fred? Oh my gosh. Thank you for reminding us that things are gonna look worse before they look better. It always happens when something really great is on the horizon. It always looks worse before it gets better. Thank you for the work you're doing to make this dream of ours come true, of having repaired streets, and we thank you for that. Okay. Next item is the treasurer's report. As you know, Tom Ramsdell is at a funeral, and in his stead, I'm doing the report for him. I believe the next slide will show you in very small print, but it'll also be included as an attachment on the minutes when you receive those, and you'll also be able to look at the recording of this meeting to do more evaluation as well. We're in a really good place financially. Thank you again for voting last year to increase the membership dues. It helps us a lot in accomplishing the things we need to accomplish. We are maintaining a $10,000 balance in our CD and money market account, which earns interest, and it also gives us free banking. So we have our monthly mailship expenses. We have our contract with Donna Lukey, who does our directory for us. She is invaluable. She works with us all the time, every single month, making sure that we're ready for that next edition of the directory. We now have a poolside cleaning contract. It's interesting because that building right now is leased to Eric, the caterer, and so we work with Eric, and he allows us to use the building, and we have graciously offered to make sure it's clean for our use. So that's the front end of the building, which we are doing. We also have retained the services of legal counsel to help us with our revision of Article 3 and Article 7 of our bylaws. It cost us a $550 retainer fee plus $275 an hour for legal services. The estimated expense of that is $2,000. And we have a miscellaneous expense that we allocate for things that arise. Like if we run out of paper plates at poolside, that's a big problem. So all these items in total add up to $17,418.52. That's the amount that needs to get us through the winter. Just so you know, our membership drive starts in January, so the New Year's membership dues start to arrive in our accounts in January. And so we see no problem with solvency ever, especially with Tom at the helm. He's an amazing treasurer. So he has given the executive committee an amount of $12,000 to contribute to worthy causes at the end of our season. So the executive committee has voted to divide that $12,000 into 3 equal parts with 3 worthy causes. Celeste Williams approached us, the LPOA, earlier this year and asked for our generosity with the Hotel Lakeside 150th anniversary hotel lobby renovation, and we have remembered her request. Also, the Lakeside Heritage Society, which is very close to their goal and does important work in keeping the historical documents and the history of the LPOA alive. I did a lot of research at the archives over the winter about the history of LPOA, and I wouldn't have had that information without the archive, and I'm very grateful for that. And another third we have allocated for community benevolence. So we have a history of donating to Bistro 163, which is a worthy cause, and the Danbury Food Pantry. The fire department really has come back with us and said they really don't need a financial gift. They're set, they're solvent, they're in a good position to be very effective in what they do. We've chosen to continue a small portion of that third amount to the Danbury Police Department for their presence in our community. So with that being said, I hope you'll join me in just celebrating those three worthy items: the hotel renovation project, the Lakeside Historical Society, and our community outreach. Oh, and also the Danbury Food Pantry. And if you'd ever like to know what we have contributed to in the past as an organization, go to our website, lksdpoa.org, and go to the About Us link and scroll down, and it'll say philanthropy, and you can see all of our donations since 2019. Tom put that together for us, and it's been on the website since the beginning. And we'll add this year's. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for being members of the Lakeside Property Owners Association. We value this organization as a really important part of the life of Lakeside, and we do everything we can to create a good working relationship with all the various entities. Like Sally said, we're also independent. We're an independent organization, and we have a significant contribution as well. So we recognize that, and we work really hard to make our relationships as wholesome and healthy as they can possibly be. All right, moving on, we have, the bylaws update. So the bylaws committee has formally begun its work. The LPOA has engaged in a relationship with Kamen and Cusimano in their Toledo office, and they now have our bylaws. They're in the process of reviewing the bylaws. They also have all the leases that Lakeside uses for their cottages inside Lakeside, south of Lakeside, on the other side of the gate between the Lakeside fence and 163, for the campground, and for Island View. So I've been working with Pam Fulton and with Charles to collect those important documents for our council to take a look at. We're very optimistic that Article 3 is going to be much more readable and understandable, and we're looking forward to hearing back from Kamen and Cusimano. As per our bylaws, the chair of the bylaws committee is the vice president of LPOA, and that is Ross Brown. And he has selected Rick Green and Ron Yonke and Larry Kisabeth to join him in the committee. And as president, I'm ex officio on all the committees, so I am able to attend as well. So the next thing on our agenda is the community relations report. And Ron Yankee is sorry, I haven't called you Ron Yankee in a long time. This is Ron Yankee. He's on Oak Street. He's going to be dealing with the gets worse before it gets better situation. So thank you, Ron, for giving your report this morning.
Safety, maintenance, policies have been the focus of past community relations reports. If you've attended any of the coffee chats, the front porch gatherings, the Zoom meetings, you've heard many of these concerns. When we receive concerns from individuals, we forward them to the executive committee, or if it's something that deals with maintenance or safety, we share those right away with the Lakeside administration. And next slide, please. Today, I focus on a totally different subject, community relationships. It's important for each of us to address this as property owners. Good community relations are at the heart of Lakeside. I think it's our brand. Part of the Lakeside Chautauqua Association's mission statement is to nurture relationships. Our own Lakeside Property Owners Association mission statements seeks to make Lakeside a welcoming destination for property owners. Community relations are really a newly expressed concern that we've received from property owners. These various concerns relate to events preceding the recent LPOA election. Let me emphasize, the concerns have nothing to do with the individuals who were candidates, has nothing to do with the election, how it was held. In fact, Carol received many compliments for how she handled the election. Let me just give you a summary of what's been conveyed by many people. Some Lakesiders expressed surprise that an organization presented a slate of candidates for LPO offices and started the campaigning before the nominations were made by handing out information. Some felt that this change threatened the way that property owners have voted in the past for their leaders on an individual basis rather than on a slate basis. They worried that having a special interest group or groups acting similar to political parties would divide the Lakeside community on a persistent basis, much as they perceive the national scene being divided. They were troubled to think that candidates elected who were sponsored by a group might have that group's interest in mind as a priority rather than the interests of the LPOA and its members. I present these concerns. surprise, change, perceived threats, worries, troubles, for your individual reflection. We're all sensible people, and I believe we can determine what actions we can each take to get to a better place when it comes to nurturing relationships with our fellow property owners. Just to suggest a couple of things. Assume the best intentions. Respond with grace to human frailties or faults, errors in judgments, fears. Don't hang on to past mistakes. Look forward to the future and how we can improve it. Maintaining community relationships is essential at Lakeside. If we obtain all the improvements that we want, including the ones we've heard today, but lose our community relationships, we've really lost our soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. I love your last comment about our community soul, and Lakeside obviously definitely has a soul, and we all are part of that soul of Lakeside, and we value everyone's opinion and everyone's input, and we always do our best to be generous with our listening and judicious with our decision-making. Now we go on to the Lakeside Association board reports. I've got first of all, may I ask, do we have association board members present this morning? Please stand and let us welcome you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being members of the LPOA, and thank you for participating in the life of Lakeside. I sit on the executive committee and the governance committee. The first and most important thing to say is that we really appreciated the in-person forums that happened during the August association board meeting. They were so helpful. I sat on both sessions of the governance committee, and we heard a theme in both sessions about communication, and also, in particular, governance issue about the confidentiality agreement and how it's being perceived, how it's being used, and how can we refine the confidentiality agreement to better serve everyone in Lakeside, all of Lakeside's constituents. One thing we brought up in that meeting was that we really preferred the term confidentiality agreement over the term non-disclosure agreement. The phrase NDA seems to be more harsh. It's easier to have it roll off the tongue, but a confidentiality agreement speaks to what's important, and it's not, the important part is not non-disclosure, it's confidentiality. And so it seems to be a more appropriate way to refer to that document that we sign, promising that we will keep confidential matters confidential, and we will be free to talk about projects and discussions that are in progress by the association board. It was well understood and well agreed at those open forums on August 1st that it is necessary to have confidentiality in certain areas, and we are by no means intending to not honor that, but we do want to make it more clear and understandable, not only for the people who've signed the agreements, but for the people who know that we've signed the agreements, that not everything we talk about is private. And the board is newly aware, that it's an important part of our job to communicate not only at the end of a decision-making process, but during the discussion leading up to the vote as well. So the current agreement that we sign is now being discussed, and the initial reading was offered at the last governance committee meeting, And all the members of the governance committee have been asked to submit drafts for the next meeting so that we can put all those drafts together and hopefully come up with a very readable, very more appropriate and more refined confidentiality agreement. The timeline for having a new confidentiality agreement, we would like to have it ready for use in February for the board to vote on that document at the February board meeting. Another thing we talked about at the governance committee was that Jack Allen, who is the chair of the committee, will make a formal request for board applications in mid-October. He's working on that announcement now. There was a September 30th email that came to you from the board, from Jane and Charles, outlining the turnover and how the board turnover happens and the term limit processes. If you haven't yet read that letter, it's a very good, very informative letter. Look on September 30th in your email inbox. You should have all received it. If you haven't received it, reach out to me, to Charles, or to Jane, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of that letter. It was very informative. In the next round of, on March 31st of 2026, Jane Marks, Greg Moore, and Rob Huntington will be retiring their terms. So per the bylaws, there is a maximum number of board of trustees on the board to 19. So Charles will let us know. He'll have more information about the number of applicants that we're going to be looking for. Another thing we talked about at the governance committee was how can we better inform board members about the candidacy of the people who have applied, or how can we have more information as a board about the people who have applied? And so Jack suggested that maybe we can videotape the interviews for the use of the governance committee and for the use of the association board so that we can become more acquainted with those candidates before we vote. It was a suggestion, and we'll talk more about that as time goes on, but just want you to know we are aware that we need to be more comfortable and more knowledgeable about the applicants who want to become board members. The last thing we talked about at the most recent governance committee was maybe perhaps creating a clearer process for the selection of board members, officers. So right now we have a president, a vice president, a treasurer, and a secretary. And it's I think, I've only been on the board for a year and a half, so I'm not very familiar with how that works, how people become president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer within the board. One thing we need to find out is who among the board members are interested in those positions. And going forward, we're going to find a way to gather that information from the board members. So it was a very interesting and very productive governance committee meeting that we had on September 23rd. Brett Johnson is up next with the Finance Committee report. Brett?
I feel like everyone else who's talked this morning by starting with a point of gratitude. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve, to represent you, my neighbors in our community on the LPOA and the association board. I've learned a lot about finance that I didn't know before, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. A couple of things I want to report on this morning is two big things, actually. The first thing is an encouragement for you to join the Financial Forum on October 23rd at 12 o'clock. You received an email from Lakeside a couple weeks ago that encouraged you to send back an invitation, and then they will send you an invitation to that Zoom meeting. I want you to join because it answers a lot of the questions that we all have. It gives you an opportunity to get answers to the questions that were reviewed at those breakout sessions this summer. And it also gives you an opportunity to have a little more ownership in the finances that we're curious about and some of us and most of us are concerned about. So thank you for that. Please join us on October 23rd at 12 o'clock. The second really important thing that we reviewed and are in the conversation of with the financial board is the financial committee is the 2026 gate fees. And what an interesting conversations that we've had so far and will continue. Robust discussions involving things like should children be assessed or should they pay a gate fee? How do we continue the programs and the operations and all the things that happen to make Lakeside amazing? And how do we make it affordable for people who are in Lakeside, property owners, and also for the many guests that come? So we're in those conversations. You will know sooner than later about those kinds of things. And I want to again thank you for the opportunity to serve alongside you to make Lakeside the place that it is. Thank you.
Larry Kisabeth is a member of LPOA and serves on the Municipal Services Committee. Thank you, Larry. Did I call you Larry? Yeah. Okay. You're still Larry.
I've been called a lot of things.
Larry Kisabeth with the Municipal Services Report.
And new members.
Yes, thank you.
All right, our Municipal Service Committee has not met since the last board meeting on August 1st. If you remember at that time, we had 2 breakout sessions actually in this room with the various committees. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of those people who attended the breakout sessions. Much good conversation happened. We have a few notes from that meeting and good discussion points for us as we move forward. We do have our next MSC meeting scheduled for this coming Monday, October 6th at 8:15 in the morning. On the agenda are the following things. Approval of prior minutes for our May 30th committee meeting, discussion on the comments from the work sessions, and I do want to highlight that our chairman, Steve Bruneau, has addressed or contacted 4 participants of those breakout sessions. He has directed them to where they need to go or made note of those things. The other things will be discussed in our meeting on Monday. We'll be discussing the parking policy, the discussion of the road opening and maintenance rules, and homeowners' requests for variances. Once again, thanks goes to all of you who attended those breakout sessions, and that is my report.
Larry whispered to me as he came up that I have been remiss in welcoming new members of the Lakeside community. I'm so sorry that I just jumped right into the meeting. Do we have anyone at our meeting this morning who is new to Lakeside? A new property owner? Hello. Can you please stand and so we can welcome you?
My name's J.R. Milliron. This is my wife, Teresa. We purchased a house. I haven't even met the people of Curry House on Jasmine. Some people in here might know them. They might even be here. I've never met them. So this is our first one.
Can you say your name slowly or spell it so we can understand it?
I go by J.R. My real name's Grant, but I'm a junior, so everybody calls me J.R. And the last name is Milliron, and it's just like it sounds. You just put mill and iron together, and that's our last name.
Great.
And we're from Mansfield, Ohio, originally.
Thank you so much for coming to the meeting this morning, and we welcome you to Lakeside. You mentioned purchasing the Curry house on the 700 block of Jasmine. I know Currys are out of town because their dog Millie is being dog sat. So I don't know anything more than that, but I know Millie is in good hands right now. And the other thing we have another one. Here we go. Hi.
I'm not technically new. A couple years I bought a house on Sycamore, but Joshua Weir from Columbus. This is my first meeting though, so.
Pleased to meet you, Joshua. And what's your cottage address?
218, 218.
218 Sycamore. Thank
I've
you.
I've got the 8 kids, so you'll see our family when we're kind of walking down the street. So
We love it. We're famous for our intergenerational love around here, so you're in the right place for that. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the meeting this morning.
Hi, my name's John Myers. My wife, Mary Eileen, we just purchased a house on Walnut in August, and we're happy to be here at our first meeting, so thank you.
Pleased to meet you, John. Is it M-Y-E-R-S?
Yes.
M-Y-E-R-S.
Yes, and we're from Cleveland.
Great. Welcome to Lakeside, and thank you for becoming part of the LPOA meeting vibe here. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much. I remember the day that Rich and I stood up as new members. That was a long time ago. That was 30 years ago. Anybody else remember that day? Yeah, there you go. Ed, you remember. The other thing I forgot to mention was Article 7 of the bylaws, which is also being worked on, and that is our intention to provide some type of remote voting by the next general election next August. We've got a timeline set out where right now thanks, Charles, for letting me know that trick. Right now, our legal counsel has Article 7, and they are working on it. They've got really great ideas on how to do a successful remote election. As you know, we are transparent with the process of our bylaw amendments because we just went through the whole process a year ago, and we are very determined to give you full disclosure at every step of the way and all the red line versions. So look for those over the course of the winter. We're hoping to have the Article 3 and Article 7 finalized and ready for a vote at the May meeting. So that is our timeline. We look forward to that. Uh-oh. Move the cursor. Oh. Hey. Thank you. Well, now you know I'm not Mary Poppins, but I do a lot of things really well. This is not one of them. While he's working on that, hi, John. Hi, Charles. We have any old business? Is there any new business? Okay, seeing none, that ends the business portion of our meeting. We now enter into the comments for the good of the community. And we have 2 mobile mics going around the room. I ask you when it's your turn to speak, just to stand up so we know who's talking, give us your name and your cottage address for our records so that if we need to follow up with you, we can do that. Also, you know the 2-minute rule, it's there. And you have 2 minutes to make your comment, and we will be glad to accommodate that. We'll take the comments as long as there are any. So now here we go. First one is Milt.
Okay. Milt Lewis, 530 Cedar. You mentioned the bylaws committee. Is there any opportunity for community members to participate in that process? Are you going to open up that committee to members of the LPOA as opposed to the 4 people that you identified?
We do have 2 non-executive committee members already sitting on that committee. That's Larry Kisabeth, who you see beside you, and Rick Green. Can you raise your hand? I think I saw you back there, Rick Green.
Yeah.
So they're non-executive committee members.
So that sounds like 4 people, but we're an organization of 900 cottage owners. So are you going to open that up to a larger group, and are you going to have any public sessions to discuss the bylaws prior to?
You talking about public in-person sessions?
Either that or Zoom. I know we're going into the I mention this because obviously I'm very interested. I'm an attorney
Yep.
and a budding parliamentarian. I've got my Robert's Rules with me. I want to participate, and I won't charge you $275 an hour. I simply need to know how to get a seat at the table for this process.
So the most of the work is going to be done by our legal counsel. So right now, there is nothing for us to do. We've provided them with all the documents that they need to do the full review and to give us particular advice and recommendations about Article 3 and Article 7. So that is where we stand right now.
So Mary Ann, I know
Sure.
Ron is an attorney. I don't know if anyone else on the committee, Rick is. Okay, good. So that's great. The voting procedures are already outlined in Robert's Rules of Order.
Sure, and we followed those the last time as well.
Mail-in voting is outlined in Robert's Rules of Order. You could simply implement it today. There are paragraphs in there. So again, I want to help you. But I'd like to have a way to be a part of the process, more than waiting to be handed something in May and just being given a go or no-go on it.
So you'll be receiving communication along the way periodically between now and May. Our job isn't to do all the work behind the scenes and give you something to vote on in May. We will be redlining as we go.
Will I be able to provide comments back
Sure.
to that committee?
Oh, sure.
Why, we're a membership organization. Is there some reason we don't open this to the membership?
It's unwieldy, first of all, and also I don't, I'm sorry? Ross is the chair of the committee. So
Yeah.
he chose the people on that committee along with our legal counsel.
So, Mary,
Is there a reason why?
Madam Secretary, I could make a motion to increase the size of that committee. We're a membership organization. We control how the LPOA is run. So I don't want to. I don't want to get into that. There's a lot of Robert's Rules of Order that nobody wants to hear.
Yeah.
I simply want you to open these committees up to the membership so that we can have a meaningful way to participate in the development of our bylaws.
So how was the process the last time? Can I just ask for your opinion about how you enjoyed the process when the whole document was updated?
I'm sorry, Miriam, would you?
So we revised the bylaws in 2020.
And you sent out red lines prior to the meeting.
Oh, we did, yes, and
Yeah.
we had back and forth all along the way. We were very deliberate about letting you know every step.
I don't want to just be let know what you're doing. I'd like to participate. Again, I point out, we are a membership organization. Mary Ann, you're the one that taught me that. Frankly, the LPOA is actually out here. We want to participate in our development of our bylaws.
Sure, I understand that. If in a perfect world, everybody who belonged to the LPOA would be a member of every committee. It's unwieldy. So
we don't have to be perfect. We just maybe need to be better than what we're doing today.
So can I let Ross know of your interest? I know Jerry has already expressed her interest and also sitting on the bylaws committee.
Right.
He's the chair. He's not here today. So what I can do at this point is to let Ross know of your interest in sitting on the committee.
So how can I ensure that this won't fall on deaf ears? Again, for folks who understand Robert's Rules of Order, I can make a motion that requires the bylaws committee to be expanded to include additional LPOA members.
So, for one thing, in our bylaws, we use it says, we use Robert's Rules of Order for the purpose of maintaining order in a meeting. It doesn't require us to use Robert's Rules of Order for every action that our organization undertakes. So,
Marianne, I don't read it that way. That's not what our bylaws or our parliamentarian procedure is governed by Robert's Rules of Order. You have the ability to modify it for debate. You can do a consensus model, but otherwise you're governed by Robert's Rules of Order.
well, thank you for enlightening me about that, and I'll go back and I'll review the bylaws about that. My hands are tied at this point. I'm not the chair of the committee. I'm ex officio on the committee. I don't have.
So why don't, Madam President, I move that we increase the membership of the Bylaws Committee to include up to 8 additional community members.
So here is the.
And I'm just waiting for a second.
All right, so here's where we are now. This is an open meeting, and I don't know who the members are. Only members of the LPOA can vote, and we have gone through this back in July or in August, I think.
So if
I can just have a minute, please.
Sure.
So in order to have discussion about a motion from the floor and then a vote in a general meeting like this that's open to members and non-members and members of the community, we can't take a vote without knowing who the members are. It's just how it is.
Well, then you couldn't confirm to me that you have a quorum today either, then, could you?
Right.
You're assuming that all these folks here are members, right?
I did make an assumption, I'm sorry.
So if we can assume that they're members for a quorum, we can assume they're members for voting. And you can simply ask non-members to not vote.
At this moment, Milt has a point. Would all the members who have paid their dues for this year in the membership of the LPOA please stand for a quorum check? Does somebody want to count to make sure we have 50 people standing?
I would say that's your job to do that.
I would stipulate we have 50. So.
Okay, you can sit down. Thank you so much for standing and for remembering that you are a dues-paying member. And we are really good about the honor system here at Lakeside.
Right. I agree, by the way.
So we have a motion on the floor by Milt, and who seconded the motion? Did we accept a second? Richard Hahn has seconded. Now we can enter into discussion about your motion, which is to expand the number of members of the Bylaws Committee for this session.
Sure. And it'll come back to me for the first comments. So, Mary, again,
okay, remind me of your motion so we know what we're talking about.
My motion is to expand the Bylaws Committee by an additional 8 LPOA members.
Additional 8, so you want 12,
Sure.
12 members at the discretion of the chair?
Marianne, I'll leave it to you to be fair and assign people of differing views to this committee.
So the motion on the floor is to assign an additional 8 persons to the Bylaws Committee. Now we're open for discussion before the vote.
So normally, again, I don't want to Robert's Rules of Order to death, you folks, but normally the person who makes the motion is the first speaker, which would be me.
Go ahead, sure. You got the mic.
And the argument I would make in support of this is that we're a membership organization made up of community members. We should have a seat at the table when developing the modifications to our bylaws.
Thank you, Milt. Anybody else? Richard?
Richard Hahn, 401 Maple. I put together, along the line of Milt's concerns, I'd put together paper on August 20 that had 6 critical issues that I foresee in redefining the membership. And my only point right now is for that to all be finalized by vote at our next meeting, at the May LPOA meeting. I think it's very problematic. I think there needs to be open discussion. The issues I can just highlight, like our campground members equivalent to residents, and our year-round residents equivalent to summer residents. We have Island View members. Also, there was a proposal that up to 4 persons in a residence could be members. And you would take on good faith that the 4 people applying for membership. I'm just saying there are a whole lot of important issues in defining membership of the LPOA. And I say that also in the context of the concerns about electing the association board members.
Hey, Richard,
Because, yes,
right now the motion on the floor is whether or not to add additional members to the bylaws committee, and that's where our discussion should be.
And that's
Thank
why
you.
I say there are a multitude of issues, and I definitely think at least 8 additional members of the bylaw committee should be added.
Thank you for your input, Richard. Ed and then Ron.
Ed Brewster, 638 Central. My concern is that if we vote for the 8 people to be on this committee, who selects the 8? And if you're not part of that 8, are you going to be upset about it? So who selects the 8?
Thank you, Ed. Yeah, everybody has a chance to speak one time, and then when everybody has had a chance, then we'll go around and see who else wants to speak again. Now it's Ron's turn. Ron?
Putting on my bylaws committee hat as well as my community relations hat, and just to assure people, all the issues that Richard mentioned have been discussed by the bylaws committee. So those things are in the hopper.
And I would second that. I served on the bylaws committee the last time. We redlined and argued and redlined again, and we put forth the best proposal that we could make. And since that time, we are going back and looking at 3 and 7 once again. But there has been a lot of input.
Anybody else? I think, gentleman in the blue shirt, you have your hand up. Your name and cottage address, please.
My name is Tom Salomon at 516 Cedar.
Hi, Tom.
And hello. My concern is that based on what I experienced at the last election, the lead up to it, the way the information was presented to the public, that we had a slate, but we had people from the floor. I think it's absolutely appropriate to maintain my level of confidence in the appropriateness of the actions of the Lakeside Property Owners Association, that we accept what has been proposed, that we need more from the floor information. And the executive committee picks this, that, and the other thing. Well, I guess I had a problem with what the executive committee did when it came to the election. So that's my 2 bits.
Thank you, Tom.
I didn't tell you, I'm Larry Kissabeth, 526 Sycamore. I am a member of this group.
Thank you, Larry. Anybody else?
Mary Ann,
Would anybody like to speak again? Mitch, please stand. Mitch, I'm sorry, Milt.
It's
Sorry.
okay. Mitch is really close. I'll
Sorry.
take it.
I'm sorry.
Just to answer the question, while I would love I expect Mary Ann to work with Ross to appoint members to that committee. We're not electing people today. And in the spirit of what Ron has talked about and Mary Ann, I asked them to be fair, to assign people with differing points of view to this committee and allow them to work as a committee on a set of bylaws that committee can come in May and recommend to the entire membership. So.
Thank you. Any other comments about the motion on the floor? We have one in the back here.
Ernie Dietz, 426 Elm. The only comment I have is setting the number at 8. Who's to say that we're really going to get 8? And the motion was add 8. I know. That's my concern is 8's an arbitrary number, I think. And what if we only have 6 people that volunteer to be on the committee? Then what are we going to do? We won't be reaching his number. I think it needs to be at least say up to 8 rather than just exactly 8.
It should be an odd number.
I'm sorry. Parliamentarian friends, that's a motion to amend my motion. Which
Exactly.
can be a motion, I'm fine with it. Up to 8 based on if you receive 8 people who volunteer, then I would expect you'd name 8. And if you don't receive 8, so I think we should turn that into a motion, which I would second.
Ron Yonke? I'm asking you how to proceed here. We have a motion to amend the motion.
Subject to Milt's correction, I think, Milt, you've accepted that as a friendly amendment to your motion, so I think the motion is now up to 8.
Can we say up to 8? Up to 8, so the committee would be up to 8 people.
Wait.
Up to 8 additional members of the bylaws committee.
Which would make it 12.
Up to 12.
4 plus 8 is 12.
With the caveat being up to.
And a committee should have an odd number, just to say.
Sure, I'm getting ready too.
I'm asking to call the question for a vote now.
Thank you, Carol. So here's how the voting will proceed. Raise your hand to receive a piece of paper from Carol Robertson. Yes, Milt.
You don't have to turn this into a ballot. Robert's Rules of Order says in order for you to turn this into a ballot issue, we have to vote to make it a ballot issue. You as president don't have the power to turn these into ballot issues.
Thank you. So would everyone who's a member of the Lakeside Property Owners Association who has paid their dues for this calendar year, please stand. The motion on the floor is to increase the number of members of the current bylaws committee to a number up to 12. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by raising your hand. All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you for the useful conversation we've had. So now we're going to continue with our comments for the good of the community.
Richard, I just wanted to add, the timing you suggest is the vote would be the May 2026 meeting. I propose and suggest that the final draft would be presented for discussion at the May meeting and voted upon at the July LPOA meeting. It's much too important to not have open discussion among all LPOA members as to the definition of who are members. And we've just seen if 4 people from one household can vote, that dilutes my vote. And if people from the campground can vote on LPOA matters that pertain to nothing, have nothing to do with the campground. I'm just saying I would recommend having a final draft ready for discussion at the May meeting and a vote in July.
Okay, your comment is so recorded. Thank you, Richard. Martha.
Hi, I'm Martha Adamski, 416 Sycamore. My questions are quick and short.
Okay.
When we were doing the road stuff, can we just forget about one-way streets? I know East Side doesn't have it, but West has a lot of one-ways.
Can you give Fred the microphone, please?
Where on the West Side there's a lot of one-way streets, can we just ignore the one-ways if the second, third, second, fourth, during the construction?
I'm really surprised someone from Sycamore would ask that question. My wife sees me curse at anybody who goes the wrong way on Sycamore. So I'm really shocked that, I'm really shocked, just personally. But are you asking when we get to the west side work or phase 1 work?
Well, phase 1 is...
I guess my answer would be, right now, the answer is follow the road signs. And we'll think about what you're asking when we get further. There's not any, I don't believe there's any one-way streets in phase 1. So it's a non-issue there. Yeah, but there's no what. I have no control, but yes, I wish that you would all, especially those of us who live on Sycamore, follow the signs.
Thank you, Fred.
And then one quick question. What's on the lawn down at the hotel? And
Seed, grass seed.
That's grass seed?
With
Oh.
the straw, you know.
Oh, and then it just
It goes
disappears? And we have one more. I do have an issue. What are we doing about the situation with cats that aren't neutered or spayed now? We have cats galore on Sycamore that I know are not fixed because their little ears are not
That sounds
nipped.
like a beginning of a poem. Cats galore on Sycamore. Yeah.
Hey, poet and didn't know it. So anyway, and the skunks. There's one skunk over by us that is really looking bad.
Okay, thanks, Martha. Yeah, now, who said that? Now we're at a real property owners meeting. Skunks and cats. I don't have an answer, but I will look for an answer by talking to administration and see if there is something in the works. Dennis would be probably a good person to ask, but he has left the building. So next question in the yellow.
Rick Fry, 237 Cherry.
Hi.
Will the paving on the east side interfere with leaf pickup, and if so, for how long? Or should we plan on bagging our leaves, not putting them in the street?
Good question.
I'm working on that with Dennis. I don't have an answer, but it is being looked at, trying to figure out how we're going to do that. Part of the issue is we don't know exactly what day they're going to be there, but Dennis is aware of that, and we're working on it, and there should be something come out to let everybody know.
Thank you. Okay. My name's Jerry Leibarger. I live at 530 Cedar. I was recently elected as the LPOA secretary. I wanted to address some of Ron's concerns that he received through the Community Relations Committee. And first of all, say thank you, Ron, for sharing that. Okay, at no time, I'll just apologize in advance. Did I personally mean to offend anybody or appear as hostile? I will tell you what happened is I asked Ross Brown, are there any campaign rules? He said no, because indeed there are not, if you read through Article 3 in the bylaws. And to be quite honest, I wanted the win. It was game on. I feel like Lakeside would benefit from some changes. I have a passion for Lakeside. I love this place. And I wanted us to have a voice. So at least from my perspective, speaking from me, that's why I think maybe we appeared overly aggressive to some people. It was never our intent. But I honestly, again, speaking for me, felt like I was running in an election and I wanted to get my point across and I wanted to get out to you guys. So we did porch talks and we did a pamphlet and we were just trying to be receptive to the community and trying to listen to you and get out there. So I know you said it wasn't directed at us and I appreciate that, but I felt like I wanted to address it and just let everybody know why. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. So in the back, in the green. Oh, hi. Hi, Bill.
Hi there. Bill Drackett, 528 Lakefront. I wanted to commend Charles and Dennis. Mitch Grinley and I worked with them. And to answer the other question, Bettinger Park, the hotel lawn, is under renovation. And so there's been a huge amount of new soil that has been put down to cover the roots and improve the lawn. It has had new seed. The very unique carpet that has been put down is biodegradable, along with the staples that will hold it down from the wind. And then after the wedding today in the gazebo, the entire area from the hotel lawn to Kenton Row will be aerated, fertilized, and zip seeded. And then Lakeside's credit has accepted the contract also for the spring cleanup and mulching, and hopefully the grass will be beautiful along with it. So thank you, Charles and Dennis.
Thank you, Bill, for the update. Who's next?
Hi, Joshua Weir, 218 Sycamore.
Hi. Again.
Yes. So is it only questions, or are you allowed to make comments?
We call this section comments for the good of the community.
Oh, comment. Or it says it right there.
Yep.
Okay, just
Yep.
read that. So my comment is just a concern for just the longevity of Lakeside. Obviously, I've got 8 kids. I've been coming here for a long time. I want this place to be here for my kids and my kids' kids. As probably you are more aware than I am of the financial issues, not just here, but also in Chicago and New York. They're moving towards insolvency, right? So, and I would say they're 5 years ahead of us if you look at kind of the pattern. And my concern, I hear a lot about transparency. I think the board is very transparent. From my perspective, there's transparency. Like if you want to find things, you can. The issue for me is accountability. With any organization, whether you are a nonprofit or for-profit, at the end of the day, the only difference between a nonprofit and a for-profit is the mission, but they still both have to run like businesses. And I know that this place is not running effectively when it comes to a business standpoint, and it's not sustainable. And I'm super, I mean, for my family, I know I have a big family, but it's $1,700 $1,700 when I pull in to pay the gate fees, right? So it's nuts. And so when I want my family members, friends to stay at my house, many of them are saying no because of the gate fees. And I know we're saying we're not just raising them needlessly, but something has to change. And I know I'm not the first person to say this. I just, as a newer resident, we have to treat Lakeside, yes, it's a nonprofit, but it has to run like a business. And if it doesn't, it will fail, just like beautiful Chicago and New York is going to fail if they don't change something radically.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment, Josh.
Kathy Holland at 409 Maple. I would just like to add to Sally's comments about the historical museum. And I'd like to say that there were probably hundreds of hours of volunteer work when you put everybody together that completely got it ready so that the contractors can move in I don't know the thousands of dollars we saved. Jim Schweitzer might be able to put a figure on that. He was the lead, he is the lead of it. So in that vein, is there volunteer opportunities at the hotel to help with that renovations to save them some money?
Sally, do you have a comment about that? I'm sorry? Charles says there will be, and the committee will put it out.
Hi, Susie Raphael, 509 Park Row. I actually park at the end of Oak, and I think either Dennis or Fred mentioned an email or a text message availability for notifications. How do you get on that? I get an email for the street up.
Let me talk to you afterwards.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Carol, you have a comment?
Just gonna motion to adjourn.
Sure. With no further comments, for the good of the community, the meeting is now adjourned at 11:45. I think that's a record.
Second.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for coming. See you in the spring.